Hey, we are live on YouTube. This is Straight Facts. Homie, Mason, Walter, and John about to react to the Patriots and Jets absolutely barn burner. Week 11, 10-3. Obviously crazy at the end. We'll discuss for the next 15 minutes or so. Are you guys ready? We can begin.
Sure.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, into the one and only Straight Facts, homie, a 60-minute NFL talk show coming your way. My name is Mason Souza. There's Walter Sabina and John Lyons. As always, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're live streaming on YouTube right now, reacting to the Patriots and Jets because we are contractually obligated to do so. We will touch on the Patriots. We'll do everything week 11 in quarter number 2. Give thanks because Thanksgiving is here in our third quarter and week 12 picks as well. But guys, let's get right to it. Walter, how about you kick us off? Patriots and Jets, 10-3. Really nothing to get excited about for 99% of the game. Now, obviously, it ended the way it ended. Your main takeaway of the Patriots moving to 6-4.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it took 59 minutes and 55 seconds to get a game-winning touchdown. And little did I think it would come from special teams. But when you watch the way the offense played all day, I was thinking throughout the game, middle, late third quarter, we're going to have our defense continue to play the way they're playing, but kind of take it a step more. And what I mean by that is, getting a pick, getting a fumble, and either returning it for a touchdown or putting it in good field position for us to at least get a field goal, because field goals were probably going to win the game today. And luckily enough, we had the special teams step up and score their own touchdown. But within the other 59 minutes of that game before the touchdown, it was abysmal looking offensively. And coming out of the bye, you think they were going to make some adjustments, make some things easier for Mac Jones, and he was going to go back. He supposedly did an audit on himself and wrote pros and cons of problems and how to solve those problems during the bye week. And you came out and you looked very similar to how you did against the Colts before the bye week. The defense continues to play really well, but the offense, you're only going to get tougher games going forward. These offenses aren't going to be like Zach Wilson and the Jets were today. They're going to be offense that can put up points like the Vikings, like the Bills twice, the Dolphins again, Bengals, etc. So, it's an A+ effort and an A+ performance from the defense, and it's an F- performance from the offense. And they're going to have to start doing something and putting up some points, because the defense is going to give up some points to some better offenses, and we may not have the firepower to even come close to matching that moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to get more into the lack of offense in a little bit, but I want to highlight the defense and how well they played. Gave up just over 100 total yards for the entire game to the Jets, 103. Only 1 yard allowed in the third quarter. The defense was phenomenal. 4 sacks of Zach Wilson. I actually thought Zach Wilson played a lot better than the Patriots' first matchup with the Jets a few weeks ago, but he played about as bad as you can play in that one, so it's pretty low bar. But the Patriots' defense was phenomenal. The pass rush was great. Run defense, solid throughout the game. I thought the secondary coverage was really good. They had a couple opportunities for interceptions they didn't cash in on, which obviously you want to see improve in the future. But overall, I thought the defense was terrific coming out of the bye week, and much better than they came out of the bye week last year, which was great. And special teams wise, they missed 2 field goals. Nick Folk did. I think that had more to do with the conditions and the wind. And let's not forget, Mac Jones took sacks before each of those field goals, and the Patriots had costly offensive penalties in the series of downs right before those field goals were missed. So you got to figure, maybe if the Patriots don't shoot themselves in the foot there, they make at least one of those field goals, if not both. But they did miss 2. And then Marcus Jones's punt return, he ended the Patriots' first half of the season at the start of their bye week as the leader in punt return average in the NFL. And now he has the punt return, almost a walk-off to win the game. Great return by him, great blocking. So the offense was really frustrating, and I think it's holding this team back as a whole. But the defense and the return game and special teams was phenomenal today, especially that defense. So hopefully that can continue going forward. They're obviously, to Walter's point, going to face some better offenses, but just a great performance by the defense today.
Yeah, it took 10 punts, and Marcus Jones finally made them pay on the last one. Incredible. First punt return touchdown of the season is a game winner for the Patriots. I'd just like to highlight Zach Wilson. 9 total completions. The team punted 10 times. We thought the Patriots offense was dreadful, which it is. The New York Jets offense is putrid beyond belief. Just an absolute slog of quarterback play we saw in this week. And yes, like if you look at the box score, Mac Jones looked immaculate. 23 of 27, 85%, almost 250 yards, didn't turn it over. But you watch that game and it's just like, and Walter, you mentioned it in your first talk there about coming out of the bye, being more prepared and, getting things right. Holding on to the ball way too long, Mac is. John, you just mentioned taking bad sacks right before a scoring attempt, which is the field goals. And obviously both of those were missed because of the wind conditions today. Throwing the ball short of the sticks multiple times on third down. And that goes into the same point of coaching. Why is there even a route that goes 5 yards when you're on 3rd and 9? So that's just something that, and I remember John Madden, of all people, when I'm playing Madden, a famous quote in that game is like, how do you throw a ball short of the first down? It just baffles me. And that's what that line was going in my head all day long when they were throwing short of the sticks. I understand quick wide receiver screen, draw play to get some yards. Absolutely. You just trying to get some yards here. But this is obviously plays where they're trying to get the first down and move the ball and eventually somehow, some way the offense to get a touchdown, which it's like pulling teeth, beyond pulling teeth for this Patriots offense to try to get in the end zone. And calling plays that they're not suited for, doing this zone run still, like it's like a stubborn old man yelling at the clouds, like we're going to continue to do this. It's not working. Please, like there was a series where Mac Jones found Jacoby Myers for 20 yards, and then Hunter Henry right after for 20 yards. Both of those plays were under center. What do they do next play? They go zone run out of the shotgun 3 times and then essentially 3 and out from there. So please, for the love of God, stick with what's working. And I'm talking to the offense now. And John, to your point, yes, the defense is tremendous. Matt Judon gets his career high with still many more games to go in sacks. The secondary, tremendous. Defensive line, Dietrich Wise is becoming a superstar in front of our eyes right now. So this is not sustainable where the defense stands on its head game after game after the game and they win by a touchdown or less. The offense needs to wake up. And I'm tired of hearing, Jets defense, yes, Jets defense is a great defense. Young, talented, fast. These aren't the Bills. These aren't the 49ers. That's a beatable defense. And the offense has been putrid. And short week now for the next couple weeks. I'm very concerned. Even though they're 6-4, I don't think I've ever felt as bad about a Patriots team after a win in my time watching them. That's just my opening take. And because the offense still has so much more work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it was like an F minus performance from the offense, A+ from the defense. And, you look, they had negative plays. I think they had 9 or 10 plays for negative yards, very similar to the Colts game. And it's like I said, coming out of the bye, you would expect them to shore up issues like that. And I'm fine with even if you pick up 2-3 yards, give me positive yards instead of backwards yards. But there was times today, I think they had 10 or 11 plays of 10+ yards, and both drives, as John mentioned in his opening take, where they missed the field goals, they were driving the ball in the first couple of plays of that drive. Damian Harris breaks off that long run for 30 something yards, then catches a pass out of the backfield and takes it for another 15-20 yards. And then the drive stalls out and they get the penalty or a sack later in the drive. So they shoot themselves in the foot instead of, getting beat by the defense. They're beating themselves. So that's just super frustrating. And, you've got the defense playing as well as they can, essentially carrying this team. It's almost like we don't deserve this defense the way they're playing compared to how the offense is playing. But, they're keeping us in ball games. We're week in and week out trying to figure out things that can work for this offense. And it seems like they don't know themselves. You think you've got Damian Harris. He comes back from injury. You've got a nice 2-headed monster running back there. Can Mac Jones, can you develop plays to get the ball out of his hands quickly? They got the tight ends involved today. I think I saw Jonnu Smith more involved today than I have, the last 2 seasons up to this point. And they're good players for what you're giving them for money. Get them more involved. You've got the talent on this team. And I think it pretty much comes down to you've got an inexperienced guy who's a failed head coach and more of a defensive guy working on the offense when there's several guys out there that have an offensive mind that could put this talent to great use and get the ball to everyone and make Mac look good. Because when you look at it, the stats on paper, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they look good for Mac Jones. But when you watch the game, it was dreadful to see. I mean, he's getting some balls out here and there, but holding the ball in the pocket, as Mason said, holding it too long. The line's not giving him any protection. Even on like short run plays, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 2nd and 2, they're losing 2 or 3 yards on run plays. So, there's going to be continue to be these issues that they're going to run into. And I think that's essentially going to be the downfall late in the season. It's going to end up costing them a playoff spot because they can't move the ball efficiently or consistently enough to stay with these teams that they're going to be playing down the stretch.
And I agree with Mason that the Jets do have a good defense. However, the Patriots helped them out a lot by playing poorly on offense, especially the offensive line. I mean, we look at Mac Jones took 6 sacks today. 6, and some of them, you can say, okay, he held the ball a little long, but he was constantly under pressure. And to Walter's point, they couldn't get a couple yards on 3rd and 2 if they ran the ball. So they really didn't have a lot of options there. I thought Matt Patricia called a kind of below average game overall, but even he is in a tough spot if the offensive line is so bad, which, by the way, is partly his fault as the offensive line coach. But that in itself, I mean, Matt Patricia right now is doing these 2 huge jobs. Neither one's working very well. Mac Jones, I thought, was better today than he was against the Colts and probably the first time around against the Jets a few weeks ago. But to Walter's point, they're still not consistently hitting pass. Like, they can hit 1 pass play, but they're not hitting a lot of 2 or 3 pass plays in a row. And they're still not finishing off drives. I feel like every week we come on this stream and we say, oh, they're not finishing in the red zone. By the end of this week, depending on how the numbers calculate, they might be last in the league. At best, they're probably going to be 30th. So they cannot finish drives with touchdowns. And if you look at this schedule going forward, Minnesota's offense, Buffalo's offense, right? Cincinnati's offense in a few weeks. You also have Buffalo's offense again. They're going to have to score 24, 27 points in some of these games if they're going to win, because as good as their defense is, if you hold Minnesota to 20, that's an accomplishment. The problem is, I don't know if the Patriots can score 21, and they have 3 days to figure out, can we get to 21 or 24? Because to me, holding the Vikings to 20 is an accomplishment by the defense, but I don't know if the offense right now could score 21 and play that out with every other future opponent they have too.
You're watching Straight Facts Homie. There's John Lyons, Walter Sabina, I'm Mason Souza, live streaming right now, reacting to the Patriots and Jets. And yes, John, speaking of the Pats and Vikings, which we will pick later in the show, just a couple days from now, Shane is in the comments here on YouTube. Mac Jones versus Kirk Cousins is going to be a legendary matchup. Yes, if you like butt fumble QB play at quarterback, which will be a 10-year anniversary come this Thanksgiving of the butt fumble. There you go. We're probably due for another one. So what a perfect day. Thanksgiving night, get the pumpkin cheesecake out and enjoy some bad quarterback play. That's coming up this week. Just continuing on with this game here. 2 total yards for the Jets in the second half. Absolutely brutal and absolutely amazing for the Patriots defense. Yeah. There's really not much else to say on my end to just generalize it as this is not sustainable. The Patriots defense to stand on their head, to use a goalie term in NHL, it's a shutout, if you will, kind of. And the offense to just sputter its way, just a rough idle its way down the field. And you guys used the term, and it's true. They shot themselves in both feet and then tumbled down the stairs multiple times throughout this game. And then, they take a holding call, they take a bad sack, a long field goal attempt, no good. And then and John, you were talking about it pre-show actually with us here, just probably at the end of when week 11 is all said and done, as we record here on a Sunday night, the first quarter, they got to be very close, if not dead last in red zone percentage. It's been so frustrating to see them move the balls. You get it to Myers. Walter, to your point, you finally get Jonnu Smith involved a little bit. You get Damian Harris here and there. You get inside the 20, and then you forget how to play football. You just do something that wasn't working the previous 60 yards, and then you have to settle for a field goal. And you can't do that against, I was going to say against the Minnesota Vikings. They look terrible against the Cowboys, but after all, they are 8-2, and they've done some pretty good things on offense. The Cardinals, say whatever you want about them. They have some high-powered players on offense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are some offenses with high talented players coming up for the Patriots in this final half of the year, not to mention the Bills 2 more times. So, I just can't get over the fact of if you can't kind of make some kind of adjustment, offensively speaking, with a bye week, what are you going to do in 3 days? So I'm very nervous about the offense. But I saw a tweet from you, John, actually, as I'm watching the game. John, Judon may set the single season record next week based on how the Minnesota Vikings offense has been playing against the Cowboys. But at the same time, speaking of offensive line, David Andrews report coming in that he may be lost for the year. This is such a blow that'll be. That is not official just yet. We may find out for sure later in the week, but that'll be massive. Isaiah Wynn, who has been their worst offensive lineman for the team, be that as it may, he may be lost for some time as well. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Is any of this Mac Jones's fault? Because we had a little bit of talk of Jones and Zappi. We have just a couple minutes left here, but I'd like to see do you make the switch now to try to, I know you won you moved up in the conference. I think they're the 6th seed right now, but I mean, this offensive play cannot continue if they want to be a playoff team.
I'm saying no. I think you stick with Mac Jones because, sure, Zappi was fine in a quick start against a terrible team, but Mac Jones is your quarterback through and through. There's limitations with Bailey Zappi, and I think we're too deep in the season and too far in right there for a playoff spot to be making this quarterback change and trying to experiment with things. This is what the preseason is for. And, I just want to see them stick with Mac Jones, try to figure it out. Again, I think it's more of Matt Patricia trying to get his guys. He's trying to focus on play calling for the offense and trying to coach the offensive line. It doesn't seem like any of it's working out for him, but I don't think you can put this on Mac Jones. Maybe, a small percentage has to be because he's holding the ball out there. He's the one running the plays, but I think it really just comes down to coaching, and the injuries to the offensive line doesn't help. Losing David Andrews for arguably probably the rest of the year. Trent Brown has looked like a shell of his former self. The other guys in the line, it was just an abysmal, performance today. But I think if you really want to try to get that playoff spot, I think you've got to stick with Mac Jones. He's the guy instead of Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, look, you guys know this. I've been a Mac Jones guy all along, despite enjoying Zappi fever for what it was. I think today, I don't look at it as Mac Jones played really poorly. I look at it as the offensive line could not pass protect at all, and they really didn't run block very well at all either. So the Patriots couldn't run the ball, save for a few Damian Harris runs that were good. But other than that, they really couldn't run the ball. And Mac Jones was constantly under pressure in the passing game. And I thought the receivers were a little bit better today, finding open holes in zones, doing a better job against man coverage, but still not as good as probably they could be. But I thought earlier in the year, like that second half of the Baltimore game, Mac Jones was awful. There was a couple other points early in the Chicago game. Mac Jones was awful. But I look at the Colts game and I look at this game as I don't see Mac Jones as the problem here. Could he play better? Yes, no doubt about it. But when he's constantly under pressure and you can't run block at all either, and your plays from a first-time play caller and not the most inventive in the world, it's tough, man. So I don't look at it as a Mac Jones thing. And don't get me wrong, he could play better, but I don't think he's the problem right now. I don't think he was the problem today.
Yeah. To your point, John, it seems like he's just playing with the cards that he was dealt. And it's a rough go for his sophomore slump, even though, like I said, box score 23-27 looks great. There's just some things on the offense that just need tightening up. And finally, as we move on to the second quarter and the live stream here, Jay Wees commenting on YouTube, if the Pats score 21 points this Thursday against the Vikings, I'll shave my head. I'm with you. I'll do the same. I think we'll all do that, maybe simultaneously in the first quarter next week, if that is the fact. Because, inverse to numbers 12 might be, more reasonable. But anyway,
I think the Patriots. Sorry to cut in. I think the Patriots are going to struggle to score 21 combined points over the next 2 weeks. You've got the Vikings coming off a tough loss. The Cowboys, they're going to be out for blood, and then the Bills have had our number the last couple of years. Yeah.
And the Bills are going to have the Patriots and Bills both play on Thanksgiving, so they'll both have a full week off. It's not like you're going to catch them on a short week either.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But they'll be discussed in due time. Later on in the fourth quarter, we'll pick Pats, Vikings, and everything else in between. Thanks for watching on the YouTube live stream. For everybody else, second quarter, Straight Facts Only.